Carney MOCKS reporter. Conservatives expose hidden oil deal in Liberal policy. Shocking. Canada's political landscape is entering a stormy chapter, with tensions rising over leadership style, economic contradictions, and environmental double standards. Prime Minister Mark Carney, who rose to power after the April 28, 2025 snap election, is already facing backlash for a press conference that many described as disrespectful and evasive. At the same time, the Conservatives have turned public attention toward a growing scandal over oil imports, highlighting how billions in Saudi oil enter Canada without facing the same emissions regulations enforced on Alberta's energy producers. As cost-of-living pressures intensify, Canadians are demanding answers and accountability. British Columbia's housing crisis is worsening, with major developers like West Group Properties announcing layoffs due to a cost-of-delivery crisis. Inflation, soaring labor and materials expenses, and rising interest rates have stalled the housing market. When even firms previously aligned with Liberal policies, such as those tied to Bob Rennie, a well-known Carney associate, are shedding workers, it suggests deep instability. The promise of public-private cooperation on affordable housing appears to be cracking under the weight of economic reality. Housing starts have dropped, investor confidence is shaken, and the future of Canada's urban growth looks increasingly uncertain. Carney's response to financial scrutiny was nothing short of controversial. At a press conference, when asked about a $95 billion contingency borrowing clause buried in a fiscal document, he chose sarcasm over substance. Referring to the document as a napkin and dodging a question, he belittled the journalist in a tone many found arrogant. Canadians across the political spectrum criticized the exchange, not just for its tone, but for what it revealed: a leader seemingly unwilling to engage with real concerns about government debt, fiscal transparency, and looming economic risks. In times of public hardship, such tone deafness leaves a lasting impression. Canadians are not just frustrated by tone, they're angry about contradictions. Mike Lake, a Conservative MP, drew national attention when he revealed that over $2 billion in Saudi oil is imported each year to Canada's east coast without facing the emissions regulations that Alberta producers must meet. Alberta oil companies, under strict federal environmental rules, are being undercut by foreign competitors who are held to a much lower standard. This isn't just about oil, it's about fairness. Western Canadians in particular see it as a betrayal, where homegrown industries are hampered while overseas producers profit freely. The federal government has long promoted its climate agenda as forward-looking and just, but the glaring exemption for foreign oil imports undermines those claims. The result? Canadian energy jobs are sacrificed on the altar of appearance, while foreign oil is quietly exempted from the very standards being used to penalize domestic producers. Carney's administration hasn't provided a clear justification, instead offering vague statements about trade obligations and international cooperation. For many Canadians, that's not good enough. The discrepancy between policy and practice is becoming too large to ignore. More troubling are the murky financial relationships surrounding Canada's housing initiatives. Brookfield and Madam Homes, companies closely linked to Carney's inner political circle, have received contracts and favorable attention for modular housing programs. These programs, ostensibly aimed at easing the housing crisis, have raised suspicions due to overlapping executives and board members between the companies and key philanthropic institutions. As taxpayer dollars flow into these partnerships, questions grow about transparency, favoritism, and whether Canadians are getting real solutions or politically connected pet projects. Erosion of public trust extends beyond energy and housing. In British Columbia, Premier David Eby's Clean BC program is now mired in allegations of grant abuse and mismanagement. Edison Motors, a company innovating hybrid diesel-electric trucks for the logging industry, was denied grant funding despite aligning with green policy goals. The grant process was reportedly manipulated, with administrators allegedly skimming taxpayer funds. When Edison's founder raised these concerns publicly, he was removed from a government event. This raised alarm bells for voters, especially those in trades and small business sectors who already feel ignored by urban-centric policy planning. Adding to the outrage is the fact that life-saving medical support for children is being cut while safe supply drug programs continue to expand with little oversight. This juxtaposition of priorities suggests a government more concerned with ideological pet projects than with tangible, life-and-death needs of families. Voters are questioning how billions are available for questionable environmental schemes or experimental programs, while basic services like healthcare face austerity. The emotional toll of such decisions is growing, and many believe it reflects a political elite disconnected from the everyday struggles of working Canadians. Trade and labor concerns compound the sense of betrayal. EB's government has been criticized for exporting thousands of manufacturing jobs offshore, primarily to Asian contractors, in pursuit of low-cost green technology. These decisions, framed as progressive climate strategy, are undermining domestic employment and crippling trades industries that once formed the backbone of regional economies. Instead of building green solutions in Canada, we're outsourcing our energy future, along with livelihoods, to foreign factories. The irony is painful and politically explosive. In this turbulent environment, Conservatives are mounting a coordinated pushback. Through House of Commons interventions, media briefings, and constituency outreach, they are pressing the government to explain its double standards, fiscal plans, and administrative ethics. Their calls for an energy policy that supports Canadian jobs, a transparent housing strategy, and a responsible environmental framework are gaining traction, especially among voters who feel abandoned by the Liberals' top-down governance. As inflation continues and public services strain, the demand for accountability grows louder. Carney's approach, so far, has been to deflect and minimize. Statements about Canada becoming a clean energy superpower, or references to global volatility, no longer carry weight with citizens struggling to afford groceries or find stable housing. What people want are leaders who address their concerns directly, without mockery, without evasion, and without cutting corners to benefit connected insiders. The Liberals' refusal to acknowledge growing discontent may prove politically costly. As the summer session looms, Canadians are watching closely. The Conservative opposition has momentum and public frustration on its side. This isn't just about a bad press moment. It's about a growing perception that Canada's leadership is more concerned with political image and elite relationships than with delivering results. Voters are awakening to the need for change, and they are demanding a new path that prioritizes fairness, transparency, and respect for the voices too often silenced or mocked in the halls of power.